You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shemaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shemaya Reed.
Welcome back to I Am Refocused Radio. Once again, we are here today, and just like any other time, we have another amazing show for you guys. We have our special guest today. His name is John Cerniglia, and he is going to share with us all the great news and all the amazing facts about SAT-7. SAT-7 has been broadcasting Christ-centered programs across the Middle East and North Africa since 1995, reaching 25 million viewers through satellite, social media, and digital platforms. Once again, I want to welcome John, taking some time off his calendar to talk to us today. First and foremost, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, Shemai. Really great to be with you. Thanks for having me today.
Yes, sir. And for our audience, if you're watching us on YouTube or listening to us on radio or podcast, you can go to their website. It's SAT7USA.org. So my first question is all about the mission, John. For those who are new to SAT-7, how will you describe your mission to make God's love visible in the Middle East and North Africa?
Yeah, well, that's it, Shemaya, to make God's love visible in the Middle East and North Africa, which might sound easy or unnecessary to listeners. But actually, in that part of the world, it's hard to find the gospel good news. It's hard to experience the living, incarnate Jesus Christ in the life of another because so few people are Jesus followers in the Middle East.
When you think about digital extremism and the threat that is behind that, we're seeing a rise in digital Muslim extremism. What is something that you feel is happening online, and what are some concerns that you're seeing?
Yeah, great question. Well, think about it. You use your phone and you're searching for something. You need to buy a new lawnmower or whatever. What happens? For weeks to come, you're getting ads in your newsfeed for lawnmowers, right? It gets obnoxious after a while. Well, the same thing happens in darkness. Sometimes the human mind or heart can bring any one of us, myself included, to a momentary dark place. But the way algorithms are designed is if I take the step to act on that and search about that, then, of course, what we know about technology these days is I'm going to constantly get fed more darkness. And so it just unfortunately draws people into a whole, you know of the dark web, right? There's a whole place out there where extremism is free to flourish. And so that worries us and concerns us because, what are we called to do as Jesus followers? We're called to be light, to bring light to dark places. And so that's what we do on our 4 channels, and that's what we do on our app, and that's what we're doing in social media places as well.
Listen, I Am Refocused Radio and watching us online, talking to our guest today, John Cerniglia. Go to their website. It's SAT7USA.org. My next question comes to maybe how have y'all been seeing their trending practices and how they're using social media to reach young people online? What are some of the things that you see, how they're weaponizing platforms like TikTok and YouTube to put their message out there?
Yeah, well, it's like any other form of marketing, frankly. What they're doing is triggering emotions that people are feeling, right? So if you're feeling isolated, if you're feeling vulnerable, if you're feeling powerless, which is, unfortunately, in the Middle East, those are fairly common feelings and thoughts and emotions. If you're feeling at risk because of constant war, the Middle East, we describe it as a series of layered conflicts, one on top of the other. If that's the reality that you live in every day, then your fight or flight sort of motives are going to kick in. And so when you see an invitation to fight, to join a fight, what some I would say wrongly describe as a holy fight, a holy war. For some people, that's an attractive invitation. Like I sort of don't put the blame on the person who's initially interested, right? And so they get drawn into darkness where unfortunately they're given power. Could be weaponry, which could be the way they speak. It could, of course, be teaching or instruction on how to cause harm. So our best defense is an offense, which is the gospel good news of Jesus.
When you think about AI and how that is playing a role, is something that you can never go away from nowadays. It's in every business, it's in social medias and commercials. We are seeing extremists reportedly using AI to spread that kind of hate faster than it can be fact checked. How is SAT-7 using technology to reach people with the truth before the lies start to take root?
Yeah, it's great. Well, yeah, this is where we can use technology, as we say, to bring the divine into the digital. To bring the divine into the digital. We could choose to stay out of the digital, thinking that that's like a holy thing to do. But we think that would be wrong and a missed opportunity. So we use AI every day. We have a very aggressive and high volume social media marketing and activation strategy to bring the gospel good news into all forms of technology. Listen to this. Last year, we had 800 million views in news feeds. 800 million times last year in 2024. Somebody saw the good news of Jesus on their mobile device because we were posting quality content. We use AI to generate some of that content. We use AI to filter some of the responses as people react to it. And we monitor that. And then, of course, we'll involve some of our team, our human live team to interact with people who want to learn more about Jesus. And then, of course, with editing, we do video editing. It used to take us a week to edit a film down to a minute. And now with AI, it could take us an hour to get that done.
And you hit something, the human side of technology. The human side seems to be something that is still powerful and always will forever override AI and any technology because it can only go so far. It cannot have good judgment, or can it have emotions that affect the human experience. More importantly, it's usually just a tool that makes things happen a lot faster, like you illustrated with being able to edit film and video, in a short amount of time versus traditional time it takes. So my next question is, what does hope look like for the average viewer who finds SAT-7 for the very first time? Because I saw on your YouTube and website that you have testimonials of people who have expressed their gratitude.
Yeah, so two stories come to mind. One is a gentleman who called in from Iran. We have a channel fully dedicated to the Farsi language, which is the primary language spoken in Iran, also in Afghanistan. We have a whole production team. We have a studio fully dedicated to reaching Iranians. There may be as many as a million Iranian viewers receiving the good news of Jesus on our SAT-7 Pars channel. We had a call in. We get about 87,000 inbound phone calls a year into our call centers, all staffed by human beings, Jesus followers. This guy was irate, screaming, saying to the call center woman, "You have wrecked my marriage." And she said, "Sir, what have we done? How could we have wrecked your marriage?" He said to her, "You've told my wife I should stop beating her." Now, this is a cultural thing. And this young woman had the presence of mind. She said, "Well, sir, your wife was created in the image of God, the creator of the universe. She's a holy temple to be respected and loved, just like you are, and just like your children are. This is our belief." And that turned into a discipleship conversation with that man. He went from angry to open about what it might look like to love his neighbor. That's a belief we take for granted. Love your neighbor as you love yourself, right? In the West, we try to practice that. In other cultures, not so much. So that was just a beautiful moment of redemption in the life of this man. And of course, protection over his wife.
That's a great story. I appreciate you sharing that with our viewers. And by the way, if you're just now tuning in, listen to I Am Refocused Radio and watching us online, talking to our guest today, John Cerniglia. Go to his website. It's SAT-7USA.org. When you think about that impact and transformation in people's lives overseas, there is stats out there that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but stats that mention that 1 out of 3 Iraqi kids and 1 out of 4 Saudi kids watch SAT-7 Kids. Tell the audience a little bit about that and how that is shaping the next generation view on faith.
Yeah, great question. I'm glad you asked about this. Yeah, so this was one of our innovations, and it was a huge risk because we had no idea if we would have viewership. You know, when you produce a television channel, you sort of got to have some confidence that you're going to have people on the other side of the screen interested. But it just felt like the right thing to do when we launched it a couple decades ago. So, yeah, I mean, you could find us on our app. You could find our SAT-7 Kids channel on our app. You can download our app, SAT-7 Plus, on anywhere you'd get an app. It's free, and you can actually watch the content. So, you know, as they say in television, content is king. We have to deliver content that is of interest to our viewers. So for our children's channel, it's high quality children's content. It includes a lot of animation. We have animation experts who can use animation to tell stories, including biblical stories, of course. And the kids love the live interaction nature of some of our animation programs that we have. So, you know, if you're a listener or a viewer hearing me right now and you go and you look at this, it's probably not going to make sense to you if you're an adult, but our kids love it. You got to speak to your audience, and that's what we do with SAT-7 Kids.
With that kind of mission, a lot of times there is some pushback. And when you think about countries where governments censor or blocks Christian content, what are some ways that SAT-7 still manages to reach people and stay on the air? Yeah.
So interestingly, what I've learned about the technology is that you can't block or censor satellite signals. You can block and censor the internet signal, and we've seen countries do that, but you can't block or censor satellite signals. But here's the real thing that I love about our work and our ministry. Our content is, and this is going to sound a little surprising, our content's actually not offensive to most people in the Middle East for 2 reasons. First of all, you got to remember that the Christian faith was born in the Middle East. So we remind people, we're not importing Jesus from the West, from Chicago, or from London. We're telling stories about Jesus of Nazareth, right? He was born and raised and walked planet Earth in your community, in your neighborhood. People love that. The other thing is we have a strong commitment to not dismiss or disparage other faith practices or other religions. We're not going to go there. First of all, Jesus himself, he certainly spoke about the Pharisees and the religious who were not loving, but we just simply won't criticize or judge other religions. That's not our purpose. Our purpose is to lift up Jesus and to tell the good news of Jesus and to invite people into a relationship with him. So for those 2 reasons, actually the governments are friendly to us, and I'm really grateful for that.
When you look at the mission and how you're trying to grow it and reach even more people around the world, the challenges that you had to face leading a global media operation, what's some of the things that you're seeing light at the end of the tunnel that keeps you inspired to continue to work? Yeah.
Well, what inspires me is how the truth of the good news of Jesus, that he lived, died, rose again for you and me and all of your listeners and viewers, that truth continues to be attractive to people who've never heard it before. And I'm so moved by that. You know, I can get comfortable in my faith. I mean, it's inevitable as you're in a faith tradition for decades, as I have been. But to see people living in Afghanistan or Iraq or Yemen discover this story about Jesus and the fact that he lives for them and wants a relationship with them, and to see them respond to that, to see people be prepared, like they will tell us, we are prepared for persecution because we love Jesus and we're not going to back down. Like, Shemaiah, like, that's a big deal. I have never faced persecution for my faith or for anything. So I'm so deeply inspired by people who will put their lives on the line to stay true to their faith in Jesus.
Once again, listen, I Am Refocused Radio, watching us online, talking to our guest today, John Cerniglia. Go to the website, SAT-7USA.org. When you think about young people and how they potentially can become leaders in their own communities, what do you hope will be the next generation of leaders as SAT-7 continues to grow?
Well, in the Middle East, and this is no small thing, in the Middle East, my prayer, my hope is that the next generation of leaders in the Middle East, even if they're not Jesus followers, will follow the Prince of Peace. This is a region, the Middle East and North Africa is a region full of warfare, and you've seen it on television these last several months. Tens of thousands of people have died in the region, in the Holy Land region alone, in recent months, as we've seen. Jesus is the Prince of Peace, and my hope and prayer for this next generation, kids who are teenagers now, is that they would choose peace over warfare, that they would seek to broker peace agreements with people who have very different belief systems than them. Peace has to be the pursuit. Peace has to be the reward. And you know, we have our problems here in the U.S. We have our problems throughout the West. But I think no matter how polarized we've gotten in the U.S., I think we generally still share the ambition to live in peace with each other. And when that breaks down, I think the fiber of society is destroyed. So God help us. God hear our prayer that the next generation in the Middle East would be a generation determined to bring peace to their region.
And I heard it said often before, and that is, we are the church as we move and breathe throughout the world, as individuals. Who is watching this right now and listening to this episode right now? What role can we all play together when it comes to responding with light instead of fear?
Amen. Well, thanks for that question, Shemaiah. Yeah, the first thing, for sure, what we believe is the most powerful thing every human being could do, every Jesus follower can do, is to pray persistently. And I love the Lord's Prayer. Sometimes we don't pray it enough, right? I mean, I love eloquent, extemporaneous prayer, but let's get back to the one and only prayer that Jesus taught us. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Wouldn't that be beautiful if God's kingdom as it is in heaven would come to the Middle East and North Africa? So pray with us. Put us down on your prayer list. Put SAT-7 down on your prayer list. Put the Middle East down on your prayer list. And if you're not sure where these countries are that I'm talking about, go find a map and pray over them. I know it can be a confusing part of the world that some of us are not familiar with. These are brothers and sisters who love Jesus, who need you and everybody who hears my voice and sees me to be praying persistently. Pray for the Middle East like you pray for your children or your grandchildren or your spouse, because they are your brothers and your sisters, those who have decided to follow Jesus. So pray. Talk about the Middle East. Talk about SAT-7 and what we're doing. Share more about us in your social media platforms, on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you are. Find something inspiring and encouraging, a story about a Jesus follower living in the Middle East. Share that in your networks. That goes a long way in today's day and age. And of course, give. We're told in the Bible that it is better to give than to receive. I hope you're all giving to your churches and giving faithfully to your church. That's the first priority, I think, as believers. And give to ministries that you care about. If you care about what's happening in the Middle East, if you want to bring Jesus there, give generously to SAT-7. We would welcome your gift.
If someone is watching this and listening to us right now, and they feel that they would one day would love to contribute to your organization, are there any ways that people can find out if you guys are needing any assistance with production or anything in how operation goes in the organization?
Sure. Go to our website, SAT7USA.org, and you can see we have a prayer list there and a prayer calendar that you can sign up for. We have a section around offering to volunteer. Maybe a viewer or listener has production expertise or has access to television production equipment. We would welcome that. We use that kind of stuff every day. We have 5 studios in the Middle East. So we would welcome that kind of expertise. But the first step is to go on our website, check us out, read more about us, and contact us, which you can do on the website. That's SAT7USA.org.
Once again, been listening to Refocused Radio, watching us online, talking to our guest today, John Cerniglia. Like always, I want to say to you, appreciate your time.
Thank you, Shemaiah. Pleasure to be here with you. And I'm just grateful for your listeners and viewers for giving us the time here today.